So Abraham Lincoln, before he's president, he's an attorney, and he's representing someone who is accused of committing murder, a guy by the name of Duff Armstrong. And there's a witness who says, I saw Duff Armstrong kill that guy. The guy who's the witness is named Charles Allen. So Allen says it happened in the middle of the night. And Lincoln says, how can you prove that you saw something in the middle of the night? And Charles Allen says, well, you got to understand, the moon was out. Even though I was kind of far away, the moon gave enough light where I could see the murder. Lincoln then takes out an almanac, throws it down and says, look, on this date, the day you said you saw the murder, the moon wasn't out, so there is no way you could have seen it. The jury acquits, and Lincoln got someone off of murder thanks to the moon. It's the War of 1812, and the United States is desperate for someone to provide food for their troops. They start putting out advertisements saying, hey, is there anyone who can provide enough food for our troops? E&S Wilson of Troy, New York, answer the call. E&S are actually brothers, Ebenezer and Sam. So they end up providing about 5,000 barrels of food for the United States every year. And they're labeled U.S. for United States. But many of the troops that get this food actually know Sam Wilson. So they start joking, oh, U.S. doesn't stand for United States. It's all Uncle Sam, Sam Wilson. Eventually, that rumor catches on through the rest of the army, and the Uncle Sam who provides for the United States rumor catches on, and now he exists today. It's May 14th, 1918, and World War I is raging. Two Americans, Needham Roberts and Henry Johnson, are stationed in the Argonne Forest. Their task, protect the French as they sleep. It's nighttime. The only illumination are the grenades and the bombs exploding off in the distance. And then all of a sudden, they hear click, click. It's a German raid. They're cutting through the barbed wire, and all of a sudden there's an explosion. Needham Roberts is incapacitated, and Henry Johnson alone is fighting against an unknown number of Germans. He uses his rifle. It jams. He turns it around. He uses it as a club, and then he uses it as a knife. The Germans eventually run off shrieking into the night. Daylight comes. Needham Roberts is saved, and it turns out the evidence is that 36 Germans were fought off by Henry Johnson alone. It's October 14th, 1912, and Theodore Roosevelt is campaigning for another term as president. He's in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and is about to give a speech when a man by the name of John Schrank stands up and shoots him in the chest. The bullet goes through Theodore Roosevelt's glasses case and the 50-page speech he has folded once, then into his chest. Theodore Roosevelt refuses to go to the hospital, insisting that he make his speech. And he begins his speech by saying, quote, I don't know whether you fully realize I have just been shot, but it takes more than that to kill a bull moose. The bullet is then left in Theodore Roosevelt's chest for the rest of his life. Franklin Delano Roosevelt is the 32nd president of the United States. But years before he became president, he actually got a disease called polio. Polio made it so that he could barely walk, if at all. And fast forward 17 years, FDR is president, and in 1938, he sets up an organization called the March of Dimes. And the point of the March of Dimes is to fight against polio. And the idea is, you send a few cents here and there, but eventually all of those cents, those pennies, those nickels, those quarters add up to a lot of money. Fast forward another 7 years, and a lot of polio has been fought against, and FDR has passed away. After he's passed away, a representative in Congress says, why don't we put him on the dime for the March of Dimes? The year is 1902, and President Roosevelt is invited to Mississippi by its governor, Andrew Longino, to participate in a hunting trip. Along with Theodore Roosevelt is a posse of other hunters. Over the course of a couple days, Roosevelt doesn't kill anything, but other hunters do. So one of the people in his posse, Holt Collier, finds a bear, clubs it, and ties it to a tree and says, "Hey, President Roosevelt, come shoot this bear." Roosevelt says, "That's unsportsmanlike. I am not going to do that." The story becomes very famous, and a man by the name of Morris Mitchum hears about it and is inspired by the story of Teddy saving this bear. He creates a little stuffed bear, puts it in a candy store, and he calls it Teddy's Bear.